What's up, everybody? We're the FREESTYLE on HamiltonRadio.net. Billy's not here tonight. He's gonna be calling and he's gonna be tuning in. Me and Ruben are gonna touch base on something. Me and Ruben's gonna sit in on, and we're gonna talk about, the same thing we do. When we talk about everything else. Shout out to Carlo tuning in, Sam, Ashley, and whoever else is tuning in right now. My weekend, was hot as usual. Busy running around with kids. Constantly doing something. The weekend was over. It happened so fast. I'm sitting here waiting. Yeah, that speaker not on is kind of fills the whole entire. There we go. A little bit louder. Yeah, right there. Perfect. Huh? No, that's perfect. That's perfect. Yeah, that's perfect. No, that's perfect. We have Ruben,
Yeah.
producer.
Jack me back again.
Producer at Hamilton Radio. Shout out to Chris. Shout out to Gina. So how's everything, Ruben? How's it?
Everything is busy.
How was your weekend? Busy?
Yep. I didn't even rest this weekend.
Yeah, I didn't.
This past weekend
I didn't rest either.
Yep.
It's today I went out driving looking for produce, vegetables. Every so often, me and the wife go for ride here, ride there, and we're trying to find we try to support.
To do that.
Exactly. We try to find a local produce, so we can support. Because instead of going to a Walmart or ShopRite, buy directly
from the farmer,
from the person. First of all, listen. First and foremost, most times it tastes a lot better.
It does.
And it's
because it's fresh picked.
It's more organic. It's like you're fresh picked, less chemicals.
Right. Not polished with wax.
Exactly. Not sitting there. So
so
often I like to do that. And I know you can appreciate that because you're vegan. So
exactly. I actually like when I do my travels and I'm traveling up to Princeton or Montgomery or down near Columbus. A lot of the farms, they got like the peaches and the raspberries. Each farmer has their different variety of produce, and who can never say no to their honey? They got the honey. It's a little expensive, but the honey is great. So,
I've never really had
farm fresh honey,
like fresh honey like that.
Oh man, it's so delicious.
I've only just seen.
I've
gotten like the homemade salsas.
Yeah.
I've gotten the fruits, vegetables. Sometimes I'll pick plants depending on what it is.
The farm honey versus what
Juices,
you get in the store. Oh yeah, just
pies, corn. I always look for eggs, fresh eggs. Because it's always good to like I said, to support local people.
Cool. Right.
Two, it's also
because without the farmer.
Exactly. Without the farmer, we're pretty much
starved.
Well, we're pretty much depending on all those processed foods.
Right.
All those fake, not fake foods, but
some of them are fake foods.
Artificially made. And some of those preservatives are not really that great for you.
Exactly.
So it's always good to eat something. We're not trying to sit here and
especially now
educate
that you can do
on something boring, but this is what I like to do, and go out and get something. And
this is the time to do it
I started growing
November.
Tomatoes. I got two kinds of gardens. One garden that I've kind of forgotten about that I have to go in and reorganize my plants and fix them and clean up whatever I have back there. So I just kind of let the summer go, and I got on the other side of my house is I have tomato plants, and I'm watching, nurturing, trimming, it's different things.
Different things.
But I've come to appreciate a fresh sliced tomato.
Oh yeah, you don't understand the fresh peaches and
Well, when
strawberries.
I grill now. You know, I grill
grill.
a little bit more.
Well, vegans grill too.
So when I make a cheeseburger, I know you don't know about too much of that. But when I
It's
grill
been a couple decades.
when I grill a cheeseburger, instead of putting the condiment ketchup on there, I put a fresh cut slice of tomato on there.
Oh, there you go.
And then I won't, I'll just put fresh, crushed salt on it, like sea salt.
You could do.
It'll be, then I'll put just regular slice of cheese, then I'm done.
Right.
Then I don't add anything else. It's how I grill it and what the sauces and what I do.
It might be a little fancy.
Come out good.
But when you put the grill on the hot dog, right? If you get some if you put
You put the grill, the hot dog in the grill.
No, I mean the hamburger on the grill.
The hamburger, the hot dog on the grill.
No. The hamburger on the grill.
Oh, the hamburger on
Nothing
the
about the
grill.
hot dog.
Okay.
Hamburger on the grill. And you add some, inside the meat. You could prepare it, or you could do it while it's grilling. Put a little garlic and oregano on it, and let it grill. Let that seasoning, get immunes inside of it, infused inside of it. And then once it gets nice little brown.
But wait a minute, you don't eat meat.
I cook.
Okay, so you do cook meat. Okay.
I cook.
Okay.
Yeah, I have friends that are not vegetarian.
Okay.
Then
I just had to clarify that. I just had to make sure.
And then on the side, you take up a couple of
Shout
whole
out to
onions.
Winston and Richie.
And let those onions grill right next to the burger. And then once you have the onions, let them juice up a little bit. Take those onions, put on top of the grill, right on top of the burger. Once it's fully done, check if you like a medium rare, well done, or whatever.
I like my stuff has to be like well done.
Well done.
Like,
Okay. Well done.
Like
Yeah.
I often
Some people
order
don't-
burgers and they're like they always come to me like sometimes they always come to me like medium well. I'm like what the hell?
Well done. And then here's a little thing too. You can I never like it whole. I like it. Take an avocado, make it into guacamole, and put a little top on that with the sliced tomato. So you got your grilled onions, a little tomato on like you did, and then for the finishing touch, put a little guacamole on top on a toasted bun.
I'm gonna have to use that guacamole. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was waiting for something. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna grab something.
Yeah. On a toasted Kaiser bun.
Nah, I just use
Kaiser-
regular. I just use regular.
Well,
buns.
I'm just saying if you want to go fancy.
It's how you make. It's how you
make
make
it. Yeah.
It's how you make the grill.
You don't have to
the
use.
burger.
You can use any bread you want. I just, Kaiser buns are great because they hold a lot of flavor from the burger. They're a little thick and everything like that. And plus, it makes you can make a big sandwich. You can use double burgers if you want to do that.
Trust me, we're not going to talk about food the whole night. We're not going to make everybody hungry tonight. I mean, 'cause then I'd have to go home and start grilling.
Grill it.
Like at 12 o'clock at night, and my neighbors would be like, "Yo,
What you doing?
what are you doing?"
It's like Ruben made me hungry last night.
But we are going to touch base on something that we are, that we as a society are slightly ignoring.
Right.
While we're trying to create reform with the police, we should actually think about prison reform,
Right.
jail reform, because realistically, facts is we are the world's leader in incarcerated humans.
Exactly. And plus, don't forget
I mean,
some of
for-
prisons
for-
are private.
For a country that says we are the land of the free, we incarcerate more humans than anything else.
And most people are incarcerated for petty theft.
Exactly. I mean, so while we are, campaigning for change, we should go in there and reform certain aspects of jail. The war on drugs just needs to be just stopped.
Right.
I mean, if you have a war on certain things,
It's been going on for
there
40
should,
years.
revamp the war on drugs on about, the deadly, drugs like heroin, crack cocaine.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Stuff like are
what
really,
most
really
thing-
dangerous.
It's amazing that more people, like you said, and I mean by petty theft, even with her, if you're a cocaine user or heroin user, now get the point is, I say user, not dealer. There's more users locked up than the dealers or distributors.
I don't know those numbers. I can't really Shout out to Stacy. Shout out to
Like if
Ashley.
you if you get caught by the police, because you're a user, you're not dealing it because you don't have like bags and bags. Somebody may have like a nickel bag or something like that. And
Well, I mean, I'm just
not
saying to
advocating
clarify.
anything.
I don't know those numbers. I just
Yeah, I don't know either.
I don't. We
but-
don't know those numbers. We're just
But there's a
reflected
high-
on it, talking
Yeah.
about it because we're all talking about reform and change this, change that.
Mhm.
But we're not. What
We're not
is an
reforming
issue
anything.
is jail reform, bail reform. We're the leading. We are the world's leading incarcerated. We have more prisons. We have more prisons than schools. We have more prisons than churches.
Right.
And
Hold on a second.
and that's an actual fact. I mean, it's sad that we incarcerate more people, and I'm not gonna I'm not gonna start adding the numbers. We all know
Just made
the
some
numbers. We
adjustments.
all know that 1 out of 6 Spanish persons of Latin descent or whatever is more liable to get incarcerated. We'll say 4 out of 10 are more liable to get incarcerated with blacks, or African descent. And whites is 1 in 17. Those are like those are not. I mean, those are based on a certain year. They're not based on today's, but they're based on statistics that were at one time. Those are 20 years ago.
Right.
Look at the statistics now. It could be different.
It'd be different.
But I'm just quoting a year. The statistics, the differences, and those are just not. I'm not focusing on that. I'm focusing on the fact that we are set to be the land of the free, yet we incarcerate more people
I want to tell you,
for petty things.
some things, and when I shot my documentary on prison, it was called "Prison Can Make the Transition" through this one guy that I shot it with. His name was Mike, Big Mike, and we couldn't get into the prison, so we just went out on the street trends interviewing people, and I didn't realize how many people wanted to talk about the unfair treatment you get for petty stuff, and then there's no reform. One guy said that, once you're done, it's okay, here's your stuff, bam, boom, you go out the door. You couldn't even get, you say you couldn't get like $2 just to get home.
Well,
on a bus line or something like that.
I mean, and it's hard. They give you
And it was for petty.
once they release you, you're given either parole, or you're sent to a halfway house,
Right.
and
Depending on
you're given
depending on what it
about
is.
30 days to get a job, or let's
Yeah,
at most times.
most times.
Quote me if I'm right or wrong, but most times you're given about 30 days to try to get a job. By 30 days, they want you to get a job. But you already got a blemish on your record. So already you have a foot out of the door before you walk in.
Right.
So in some, and now I know that they're reforming, all these laws now that you have to look past that. But there are some companies that don't look past that and use that against a potential, client or a future employee.
I want to say this though. If you look at the,
And if
I'm not gonna
anybody thinks I'm wrong, I mean, like I said, we're
Yeah.
just we're not
Now,
we're not arguing this.
our-
We're just reflect on this because
our prison.
we're not talking about this.
Oh yeah, I just want to say this. Our prison system falls. If you take it worldwide, our prison system falls somewhere in the middle. I'm going to tell you why. Because here, when you're in prison, you get free healthcare, you get a free meal, and all this other stuff. But imagine if you're in another country, like in Mexico or in South America, where your family has to bring you your meal pretty much every day, and you have no free healthcare. If you want to go see the doctor, your family has to go pay for that.
Well, in your in your sleeping conditions, you're
or
probably in one cell with 30 other
Well, guys, right? And
with
then
the unsanitary conditions.
exactly, and then on the other hand,
And hold on, I don't. Sorry, hold on, pause that.
Yeah.
I'm not okaying United
Yeah.
States prisons.
Prison.
At
No,
any,
and, but-
I'm not saying
Yeah,
they're better than.
that's why I said we fall in the middle.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so we were better on that point. Where we fall worse is, like you said, is that there's no reform. They treat every prisoner like animals. I'm not saying some should or some shouldn't. It depends on the person, but they treat everybody equally when they really shouldn't be. Because if you go to like Norway or Finland or something like that, their prison system is totally different. They actually have reform. They give you not only for education, but they give you a meal. They don't beat on the prisoners there.
So why can't we adopt
And
different?
and then when they
different-
get out of prison, they actually have a job.
So why can't we
or-
adopt different measures that from different countries and
Yeah,
use their
we should.
model? Use their model if it's working for them.
Right.
I mean,
It is.
look at
Most-
the crime.
most of them-
Look at the crime in Norway. I mean, the crime is not like crime in America. You
Exactly.
know what I'm saying? I mean, they're quarantined. They're banning us Americans from flying into anywhere
And I'm going
else
to tell you,
because they think we're crazy.
and I'm going to tell you, their prisons are nice.
Well, I mean,
And
I
they
don't
have
know. I've never been. Listen,
No, no, no.
I've
I
never
seen
been
it
in
on. No, I
prison.
seen it on TV.
Yeah.
Like I said, I did a documentary. But their prisons make our prisons look like a dump. I'm not saying I'm advocating I want to go to Finland and get in trouble or anything like that. But some of them look like little vacation spots. I mean, each prisoner gets like a television depending on your behavior, if I recall. But here,
Some prisons are brutal gulags, like
brutal.
in Russia,
Russia, China, right?
North Korea.
Oh, China! You don't want to go to prison there, man, because you could just speak one word about the government. You're out there picking rice
Well,
in the field. I kid you not.
No, they'll send you to a camp,
Yeah, that's what it's a rice camp.
concentration camp. It's crazy. That's
Education.
that's what I've
Can you imagine being
that's
out in
what
the
I've
field
researched.
picking rice because
I
you
can't
said
imagine. I wouldn't want. I
'cause
would
you,
not
you
want
said
to do
something
that.
bad about the government, so now you got to go pick rice for a year, for 10-hour days.
Well, they probably no. Sometimes it's more than a year. It's 5, 6
5
years.
Yeah.
5 years for
Yeah.
just a simple comment.
Yeah.
Obviously the freedom of speech is different from over there. There's freedom of suppression as freedom of speech is they suppress it. So,
Right.
they suppress
Exactly.
all the media. They suppress everything over there.
So if you can
Big
say like
difference from over here.
here.
We have
freedom of speech,
freedom of speech.
Right.
So they say.
that's why I said we fall in the middle.
We fall in the middle.
Mhm.
But
Yep.
again, in light that I wanted to speak about this because, we're constantly talking about reform.
Mhm.
Yet, there's not a lot of people that are talking about jail reform. I will highlight that Kim Kardashian
Mhm.
was being, she was campaigning for
Reform.
reform. Her and Kanye West were instrumental in
Mm-hmm.
releasing a number of people,
Right.
having to talk to Trump
Mhm.
and having people get released
Right.
for
Like smoking weed.
for
I mean, some
being
people got.
wrongfully jailed and
I mean, some people got 25 years just for smoking weed.
well stuff like that.
Yeah.
Some were really really questionable as to why they were in there that long. But
Right.
I'm not gonna name names, but I'm just gonna I'm just saying they
but you're
were
right.
instrumental in helping people. So
Mhm.
nobody's talked about that. Everybody,
Right.
and I'm not trying to say Kanye should get on the horse and
Yeah.
get back to running because
Running.
he did. I think he officially dropped out.
Other
I'm
race.
not mistaken if he may have officially dropped out of the presidential race. I'm not sure if he did or not. Don't quote me on it, but I thought I read something that he did.
He did. Hmm.
So the only positives that I know that he was
It's like
doing
Kanye's
is,
flipping sides.
like the only thing, like I said, that I do remember, him
Mhm.
and her is jail reform, prison reform.
Right.
But we're the last couple months we all been talking about reform.
I
2
would
months,
actually
right?
like to.
We have been
I would
really
actually
going
like to-
hard on this on reform.
Right.
So we should, if I would add, since we're reforming things, we should, while we're at it, reform some of the jail measures. Jail
As-
reform to
as
let's
cra-
change things for people.
as crazy as it may seem, I think Kanye West would have gave Trump and a run for their money in the race if he would. I
Well, I
think
mean,
so.
if you
Only
look at,
because Kim Kardashian, I know she has a degree, a law degree now.
well, she I don't know if she has the law
Law
degree
degree
yet,
yet?
but
Right.
I'm pretty sure she is going to school for a lawyer to be a
Right,
lawyer,
lawyer.
of some
So,
sort.
right.
And you know, if you put a power couple, I'm gonna say I gotta say power couple
Couple.
because they got
Right.
that kind of
Got
money.
money. Right.
You know, you put somebody like that,
Mhm.
together, like a J Lo or Alice Rodriguez,
Right.
whoever runs,
Mhm.
the people that follow them are
Right.
gonna follow them, and sometimes you can have 1 million followers
Right.
on Facebook. I'm not saying that, or Instagram or whatever. I'm not saying that, or Twitter. I'm not saying that all those
Right.
followers, but look where Trump was.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
hmm
If you have a platform
Because
and you can
re-
capture the audience, you can sell the audience, something that people are wanting.
Right.
Because the reason why Trump was elected is because people were tired of the supposed old swamp
School.
needed to be drained.
Right.
I don't remember. I don't know too much of what swamps need to be drained, or if
A
the
lot of
swamp
it.
was. Well,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna quote that, but you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying. I'm saying I have voted in all the elections,
Mhm.
that I've could for the last some
Right.
odd years.
Right.
Been voting in the same spot all the time.
Mhm.
And I've never been one sided.
Me neither.
I've never picked a political party just to pick a political.
I did pick a
party.
political party, but then once I'd done my history on the parties,
Yeah, I don't
but
identify.
then
I don't identify
like
with
you,
any political parties.
for the past, I want to say maybe 15 years,
Shout out to Matt.
I've
G.
become an independent.
Shout out to Marcos. Shout out to Andre, Ashley, Lewis. Shout out to you guys for tuning in.
You want to run for president?
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
I don't think I want the
Want to-
job.
no.
Because you go in with this thinking you're gonna change the world,
And then you got to do
and once you realize you can't, remember. Look,
it. Yeah.
Obama went in there with black hair. Okay.
Right.
He went in there young.
Yeah.
He came out with gray hair.
Great. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a stressful job.
The job is stressful. I mean, and I'm not gonna say, he did a great job, he did a bad job. I'm just gonna say in general,
hmm
in general consensus that
And I think why
he
it's
went in-
stressful is because you got two sides pulling at you.
you're constantly people are trying to constantly pull at you.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to make everybody happy. As a mayor, for mayor I would run. I would run for mayor. It is people have told me that they have seen me running for mayor. I would make a great mayor. I think I would make a great governor.
Governor.
But president, I don't think I would want the job.
I could tell you that. I could probably do it to the governor, but not the president.
I don't think I would want the job. No disrespect.
Right.
It's probably a high honor, but
Yeah.
you're once you become president, your life completely changes.
Mhm.
You get that
Yeah.
black book,
But right.
that black book of the secrets that only gets
You know,
handed from one president to
president to
one
the
president.
next.
Once you open that book and you see your whole outlook on life is like, holy
Right.
shit,
Mhm.
aliens do exist. Like stuff,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And who pulls the strings? Then you're like, you're kind of tied no matter what
And
party you're affiliated with.
And you know who said that too? Eisenhower. Before he left office, in 1959, I believe. He his last. I mean, he had a pretty long speech and it was a good speech, but he quoted in his speech that he will no longer be in politics or run for anything because there's another type of industrial government that's running everything for running the industrial complex.
Were you sure that he said that?
Yeah, I'm sure.
100%?
1959, Eisenhower.
Well, JFK actually said that same exact thing. He actually gave a public speech.
Yeah, if you look at Eisenhower's last
and
speech.
that famous speech is probably what ultimately got him killed.
Right, and then
That's fact. Google that. Google it.
Yeah.
Look that up. To say, Google the speech that killed JFK.
Right.
and
Y-
read it word for word, and you'll
All you
tell
gotta do.
he'll tell you that the
Yeah.
stuff that I want to tell you, but I don't want to speak too
Oh
much
yeah.
about it.
But just look at Eisenhower's last speech, um, and he tells you that that's why he said, and when he's done in office, I'm just gonna become an ordinary citizen. I'm gonna go on my own, quietly, and I don't have nothing to do with anything. That's why he never ran again for anything.
Well, I mean, he was opened up. His eyes were open to
That's what I'm saying about that
truth.
black book
Yeah,
and
that
everything.
black book is not. Remember Kennedy when he was elected president, it was mistaken.
Right.
Like it was like
It was hold on. It
he
was
wasn't
Eisenhower,
he
right?
wasn't like the favorite. Well, I do know Kennedy. You can Google this. Kennedy did
Yeah.
say a famous speech that
Bitch.
had a
Right.
hand in the reason why he was killed.
Right.
That's conspiracy, but if you look at the speech, it makes a lot of sense as to why. Now I'm not trying to point any fingers. I'm just saying it makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
If you listen to the speech, um, say what you say. That's before technology can doctor and before technology. This is a video, and he's
Right.
clearly saying it.
Yes, I was right. Eisenhower.
But
Yep.
if you the Google the speech that killed JFK. You can either do that on YouTube or Google, and the speech will come up.
Right.
It'll tell you word for word
Yeah,
or
look
a
at that.
video of the speech. So you're absolutely right. It's, but like I said, I wouldn't want knowing what going back all the way from the beginning.
Right.
Abraham Lincoln, wanted to make change.
Right.
Look what happened to him. By doing so, even though he didn't want to, he did it
Right.
because he said, if I didn't have to do this, I won't do it. If I didn't need to do this, I wouldn't do it.
Do it.
He's like, I'm impartial to the whole entire. He's like, I'm trying to stay out of it.
Right.
I just want to change. The Civil War was triggered by tariffs, by heavy taxation by the North to the South, and the reasoning is if we're going to pay these taxes, we need slaves to pay it.
Right.
So it was a whole bunch of things leading up to it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty interesting. It's pretty
It
interesting when you look at all this.
And that is true. And that's why the slaves were the last, to be last. I'll be honest, the slaves are like pretty much the last resort to end because Lincoln didn't even want to free the slaves. He used that as the last resort.
Yeah.
To bring the South to their knees, and he tried everything, and they wouldn't give up. So what do you have to do to your enemy? You got to take what's going to hit them where it hurts.
And here I'm gonna get.
Which was actually a good
I'm
thing.
gonna get real deep. As soon as the Civil War was over, the South implemented the police
Right.
to go after freed slaves, to return them back. That's where you get the whole thing of policing down south.
Right.
And of course we know how they were brutal. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
They were.
yeah, it was that's a little
where
bit
it
of
came from.
yeah, that's a little bit of historical fact there. You can research that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's true.
Yeah, it is true.
Um,
That's how it
after-
started off. But go ahead.
After the slaves were freed, certain instrumental individuals within government sought to take advantage of the the prison system that they were creating,
Right.
and they said, their main reason of these prison complexes were to re-enslave the minority populations,
Right.
hands down.
Hands down.
I mean, if you want to quote me, research that. That's
you're right.
fact.
That's why the system wasn't when they redid after the Civil War. That's why they made everything hard for minority
And you see how I used Abraham Lincoln
Yeah.
to go to open up this. See that, right?
Yeah, I see that. And you're right because you have a systematic thing, and I hate to say, it, call me racist or not, but the system at the time when it was set up was mainly for white.
Yes.
It wasn't set up for any
And it's
minorities,
nothing. And there's nothing
and
racist about it. It's
and
just it's written.
because if you think about it, no matter what, for crying out loud, you had the Black Wall Street. You know, they had their own economy and everything, and what happened to neighborhood?
99 years ago. That happened 99 years ago.
Yep.
This summer they were supposed to exhume the remains. Literally, I think this month they were supposed to exhume the remains and properly readdress their bodies and the remains to properly give them a proper burial or to connect them to the the descendants, and try to mark the graves because they found some anatomy, some things into the ground. So they found foreign objects into the ground when they did sonar and stuff. So they said that they came to a conclusion that it was probably remains.
Oh,
they were thrown in a mass grave. So there's mass graves all over that ground, those grounds.
It makes it, what makes it interesting.
So due to COVID,
yeah,
that whole exhumation, like that whole entire excavation, was put on hold because of COVID.
Right.
And guess what happens? Donald Trump goes over there and holds his, I'm not saying all those very grounds, but I'm saying in the very town because it's Tulsa, Oklahoma. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
It's crazy how like
it all circled around.
It all circles around.
I was gonna say, what makes it even crazy interesting, is that, you have all these white folks that are dead prejudiced against the black folks. They didn't want them in their stores or anything like that, but they wanted their money. So if you're not welcome anywhere, why would I want to spend my money in a place?
What time period?
The Black Wall Street.
Or
that's
Black
what
Wall.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Black Wall Street was an all black owned prestigious town. If you look at Princeton, and how prestigious Princeton is.
And
just take that and make everybody black, and that's how Black Wall Street was.
Right.
The exchange rate of the money was 140 to 1 or something like that.
It was high.
The exchange rate of the money within the Wall Street, Black Wall Street, the money would literally stay, and the exchange of that dollar would be like 150 to 1 or something like that.
Right.
Like it would hardly leave the town. Black Wall Street. It would stay within the people.
Cool.
Oh, it's Billy. It's Billy. If it's Billy, I can't finish until you. I think we have Billy. Tuning in, calling in right now. What's up, Eric? What's up, Billy? Jeremy, Mark. Hey, Billy, is this Billy?
Hello?
Is you Billy? Billy? Billy?
Yeah.
Billy? What's up? Thank you for calling, brother.
Can you guys hear me?
Is this Billy, right? Billy?
It sounds like Billy.
Huh?
Is this Billy?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Well, it took you.
Okay.
I kept on
asking.
asking.
One second, Billy. The only thing I was trying to say was, it's amazing, interesting that with the Tulsa, Oklahoma, is that the white people are so prejudiced against the blacks. You're not welcome in the stores. You weren't welcome in the parks or in the pool. You couldn't even walk down the same street as a white person or even look at them. And then, you get into jail and stuff like that. But
Black Wall Street wasn't like that.
No, you let me finish. So when the blacks built the Black Wall Street, they didn't have to face any of that persecution. So now the whites are jealous of the blacks and started bombing the Black Street. I don't know why they just didn't leave them alone.
Well,
because they're not.
Well, they didn't just start.
You.
They didn't just start bombing.
No, I know. I know.
It was supposedly a false accusation.
Right.
We don't know.
But it didn't have to.
We don't know the scale of what exactly happened, but it started within a black male whistling at a white girl. And we all know how
burned down a whole town.
But we all know how the history of that, how that happens.
Right.
At Emmett Till, we all
Right.
know, the angry mobs, the media during that time, almost the history was lost. Not completely lost, but the media
Right.
didn't cover it so much, and they labeled it as a racial riot.
Right.
That's why
And that was complete
the history
genocide.
of it isn't as told as much.
Right.
But the truth was, it was a massacre. It was
Right.
a flat out massacre.
Massacre. It was
About
terrorism.
300 to 600 people, and everybody was thrown in mass graves.
Right.
And then they said it was a racial riot, between whites and blacks, and it wasn't necessarily.
And I'm gonna tell you,
accurate.
I don't think any of the blacks in that area would even mess with any of the whites in the next town over. Or
You
like
had
that.
you had
you know?
the people like Frederick Douglass
Mhm.
were frequent people. He was an investor. I guess he had money in there. He had property there.
Right.
Like I said, it was Black Wall Street was
Mhm.
just as important at the time
Right.
to regular Wall Street. They were making moves. It was
Right.
everybody was prospering.
Right.
And people don't like to see people. People don't like to see other people prosper.
Right.
It's sad, but that's
Mhm.
that's what happens.
Right.
You know.
It is sad, but the whole thing. I mean, if anybody owes
So
reparations.
I'm sorry to interrupt. And back to your point.
No, but basically my point was that if they didn't like the people, what they were doing, or anything like that, you have a nation that's population of whites that are 6 times bigger, 7 times bigger than your black population,
At that time.
especially in the Midwest.
At that time.
Right at that
We're
time.
trying. We're
Yeah.
going to make sure we're not
Going back
we're-
about 100 years, guys.
Yeah, we're make sure that we're
at that time.
we're at the correct.
And-
You guys know, the listeners and the viewers know
Mhm.
what period of time that we're talking this way. We're not
Mhm.
we're not misunderstood out there, and
Right.
You know.
So basically, all I'm saying is that they should have just, those white folks should have just kept to themselves. It's not like anybody went over there that he murdered. I mean, even if it was true, somebody, some black male or black boy was a white woman, that doesn't cause you to go and.
But at
you
that
know,
time,
burn down.
that was not
Yeah.
really true at the time.
I know it wasn't true. I'm just saying. I said if that even happened, that doesn't cause you to go burn down an entire town. Just because of somebody whistled.
Well, back then the narrative,
Oh, I know,
the narrative.
Mhm.
I mean, some don't know, but people don't know where the word picnic came from. Okay, everybody thinks that, you and your lovely lady go with a nice little basket of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, some orange juice and some milk, whatever, whatnot, some blanket, your little cute little kitten, and you sit at a park and you eat food, okay, and you look at the scenery around. No, a picnic was all the white folk would be, and I'm not trying to come off as racist, but if you want to do the research on this exact thing,
You can.
a picnic was named, they would pick a black person and they would hang him
Hang on.
right in front, for public to see, while the people ate the food and watched it as like a movie.
That's why they call it picnic.
You can quote me on this and you can research this, and listen. I'm pretty sure I'm 1,000% true on where that word picnic came from.
No, but you're right on the money on that.
Am I right?
Yep.
That's something it's
right.
it's something that I knew back in my
But a
head.
lot of
that
people don't realize.
a lot of people don't know.
Realize that there's a lot of words that come from racist words that were changed, and people don't even realize. They even said that like your bedroom, like the master bedroom.
It's
As crazy as it seems, but
It's
it was
crazy,
always
though.
it was the master's bedroom.
yeah,
'Cause of the
exactly, because the master would stay in that main room.
Right.
And everybody else not staying in those
It was
bedrooms.
rooms, right.
It's insane. But going back to picnic, isn't
Yeah.
that nuts?
It is nuts.
And it is nuts going back to where you just said the master bedroom, considered where it was the masters were.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like that isn't that. I mean, that right there should be erased from society.
Hey.
Because, I don't call my master bedroom the master bedroom. I just
Right.
call my bedroom. You know what I'm saying?
And ironically, they don't even teach you that in architecture class. I took architecture, and they don't even teach you that in the college university where the word master
No,
came
we
from.
don't even have music in the background.
I can't do everything.
I know. I'm just saying. I can't either, but I'm
Answer
just,
the phone, music, be hearing codes.
well, you're the. Well, I mean, hey, you wear different hats. We don't need the music. We don't need the
I mean, if
music.
you want to, you can play it on there.
Nah, it's fine. We don't need music. We don't really need. Well, I mean, we can. You guys want some music? I mean, anybody? You guys want some music back there? I mean,
Background. You have to plug that in. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll let you. You're the producer. If we can get some music, some some chill house.
Next thing you know, he'll be having me going to McDonald's and going through the drive-through and something like that. Like I'm some type of DoorDash.
Nah,
or
bro.
something like
You
that.
said you know how to cook, so I'm just gonna say, hey, come over to the house and grill some burgers one day. You know, but it's not fun because you don't eat the burgers, so it's
Exactly.
like no fun. It's I couldn't make something and not eat it, so like I don't know how that would work for you. But back to what I was saying, we're just gonna put some simple house, some lounge, some chill. Yes, Andre, I have spoke about the ice cream man truck
Oh, yeah.
song multiple shows ago, multiple times. What it actually means. It's a circus song. You guys, if you know the history, I'm not gonna say the word. I kind of said it on. I don't need to repeat it. I don't want to use it. I don't want to. I don't want to give it. I don't want to give it any power.
Well,
any
some
more power
things
than it should.
we don't have to. I mean, if
But I said the word on a show maybe 3 weeks ago, probably maybe 2 weeks ago. No, 3 weeks ago maybe.
And
said
people, you can't do your research yourself too, because he relayed the information. And unfortunately, some ice cream scripts are still using the song to this day.
Well, that falls into reform. Now we have a chance to, reform things about society that we don't like, and we shouldn't just change, the police. Just change the police. I'm talking about we should reform a lot of things about society. Of course, depending on their situation, police-wise, police station-wise, police department-wise, police force-wise, if they want to change or reform and, statewide, okay, then I'm okay for it. Like, I believe there's some reform needed.
Okay.
You good? You got me. As soon as you stopped the music, you kind of lost.
Yeah, I lost the music.
Yeah.
There it is.
But
I was trying to turn it down.
you
There
know,
we go.
like I said, we don't just need to reform the police. We need to reform the prison systems.
Right.
The prison systems are, it's the root. It's the root of the issues, because you're locking people up for, first of all, you're going, this is where the roots of all the issues are. Is you're going out and you're locking up people for all kinds of things.
Right.
You're not locking people up for, the wrong,
For
just
the wrong things.
The wrong things. You're locking people up for petty things.
Right.
And then so, the police are going to be more alert on looking for just anything. So you're constantly, this is where that you see that you see, if you work in the hood, you see the statistics, you see, where the crime is. You're not gonna see things, and I'm not trying to come off racist or anything, but you're not gonna see, the cop is not gonna see things, because sometimes those cops may not see things differently.
Right.
Like the same things, with training.
Right.
Some of these
Well,
some of these cops are coming from white suburbia, never been in the city before,
Right.
and they've never been able to engage properly in different diverse diverse races on how to speak to somebody in Spanish, or how to talk to somebody from the
Right.
you can't. Sometimes they say you can't police somebody if you don't know what they're going through.
Exactly.
So the neighborhood should reflect, the police from that neighborhood should reflect, the people, you should have a diverse force.
Right.
That's how you can reform. You can hire more people from the neighborhood, from the community, people that are being missed. People that are still waiting,
Right.
on those lists.
Mhm.
People that are military trained. People that have passed all those psych tests and are just being held back because of their race, because of their, their last name.
Oh.
You feel me?
I feel there's like
I mean,
you know what I said.
call.
If
Let me know if
the police should be.
I'm talking this a little bit wrong, but I mean,
No,
I'm
the
talking
police should
about,
be from the town.
and I'm
but
not talking about
if-
everybody.
But
I'm
if a
just talking
cop
about,
does come from another town, like you said, from white suburbia or something like that, and they should
I-
should partner up with someone from the city that knows the neighborhood and everything like that.
And I'm not saying,
because it's almost like a young cop and old cop. I experienced one time. One time I was driving, and there was an older cop. He pulled me over because I thought my lights were on because my dashboard was lit up and my front lights were on, but they said my back lights were off, and I was in Ewing. He didn't give me a ticket or anything like that. I just told him, I said, oh, I thought my lights were on because the dashboard's lit up. Everything's lit up, so I just didn't turn the knob. And the older cop just came by and said, "Oh, you should have turned on. You should have kept on auto." So, and the young cop, I'm surprised that he wasn't like all like geared up, like ready to write a ticket. But I think what it was is that he saw how the older cop was. He was relaxed. He was calm, and I was participant.
Remember, he's seeing a lesson on how to engage with people.
Engage with people, right?
The guy probably been on the job for 30 years.
Right.
He's done things differently.
Different.
Whether he's done it good, bad.
Yeah, and the other cop looked like he was on there maybe
maybe
years,
a year.
or a year.
And
Yeah.
he's still learning as he's going because
Right.
Each cop. And listen, I'm not quoting. Listen, I respect, and I'm gonna say this physically, and I'm gonna say this respectfully, and real. I respect all you cops. I respect all the friends that I have I'm friends with police wise. I respect the job that you guys do. Wholeheartedly. I mean,
Right.
you guys go out there and put your lives on the line every day for us. Listen, I have a lot of friends. I have a lot of family that are police.
Right.
I have a lot of admiration. It was something growing up. I wanted to be a Trenton cop. I had, a Trenton cop. Was like an uncle, like a father to me. I was a Boy Scout with him. He took me on camping trips. I learned different things. He was a role model. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I had somebody like that, in my life. But like again, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that I'm trying to dissect the police. I'm just
Right.
saying that, because I can't see through a officer's eyes because I don't do the job. I just
Exactly.
say I'm not trying to critique the job. I'm just saying that the members of the community should, that are the police should reflect the same community that they're from.
Right.
They should engage. Listen, the cops that I know, like when I see them, they're like, "Yo, Ralph, what's up?" Like, it's always respect. It's always, I respect them. They respect me, and most of those people are my friends. So
Right.
it's and in any town that I'm in, that I know, and I see the cop, that I know, hey, I always give them the respect. I always say hi. Always. It's always respect.
Right.
But
I mean-
that's where that, in some cases, cops look for certain things like that.
Exactly.
And they're driven for those, sometimes they're driven for
Right.
quotas and stuff like that. So
But
depending
some
on
of
the
them are not at
situation, they
fault.
don't- Exactly.
Are that because sometimes those and I've watched some series where cops say that it comes from the higher ups, like the chief or the commissioner, that they got to get these quotas and everything.
And I do,
Especially in New York.
and I
hate
do,
to
and I
say
do,
it.
and I do believe completely that there's a hell of a lot better cops than bad cops. And I don't believe that one cop sours the whole entire. I just think you just
Right.
gotta, eventually they got to be weeded out. Because listen,
That's the reform.
know-
Weed out. And some people we need training. Oh, that's what I wanted to say. I just want to pedal back just a little bit. If you're a cop and you're not from the city, you know how like the military. I'm not saying they should train the same, but there should be some type of
the
training.
military trains you if you're going to go to a
Another-
Middle Eastern
Yeah,
country.
country.
They give you a
training.
common training on how to engage people,
Cool.
how to
Right.
talk to the people.
Yeah, that's what I
You
mean.
know what I'm saying? How to use the language with them.
Them.
You know, and I'm pretty sure that when we had military in the Middle East, they didn't just get dropped off
Right.
not knowing how to
How to
speak.
speak.
They had interpreters.
Right.
So they had people to easily communicate.
And they knew the customs. They
Knew the customs.
you know,
Customs
what
knew how to dress and how to respect the people.
Right.
So, and I'm not saying we should not militarize. I'm not saying to militarize the police.
But there's
But
some
they
type
should,
of training.
some
like
of the
that.
training that the military gets should be implemented. With the
Just
police.
just say if I just because like New York, right? To say New York, they even hire here in New Jersey for the police department.
Well, New York is
I'm just giving an example.
yeah.
Now, like say if I go to New York and I get a job training, they say, okay, Rodriguez, you're gonna do Harlem, right? But before I go do Harlem, they're gonna show me, all right, which is the worst part of Harlem? How you gonna talk to the people when you go down the neighborhood so they respect you, and then I'm gonna hook you up with Jones because Jones is from Harlem.
Yeah, they can't just drop you off and you not knowing what's going on. They gotta brief you. They gotta let you know what's going on.
Yeah, and I'm not saying one day of briefing. I might have to train for at least maybe 2 months or something like that before I.
Is Billy still on?
Oh, Billy, you there?
He probably hung up because you just kept on talking.
Me? That was you.
That was you.
I didn't get a word in
You had to make that point.
Oh,
Billy
look at him, passing the blame.
Billy probably hung up because you just ignored him. You just kept on with that.
Yeah, you talking about more than me.
Billy.
See how he likes to pass the blame?
He took your craziest attribute and just kept on talking. You know what I'm saying? So. Shout out to my boy Andre.
You can call back Billy if you want to.
But I don't know. He may have said, "Well, they're pretty lit into this conversation." He might have said, "Oh, screw that, I'm not watching."
I watch it.
But that's what I wanted. I wanted to reflect on that. That
right.
Jail reform, prison reform.
Yeah.
Is a root of our issues in society.
And another reason why I'm against defunding the police because you got to remember too, there are civilians.
At the end of the day, if something happens, what are you gonna do? 911.
Right.
At the end of the day, you still gotta call the cops because you need their help.
You need their help.
And
don't forget, there's some people that are civilians that work at the police department too as well. They have regular jobs. They're civilians.
Well, speaking of civilians, there is civilians.
So
that do they're in Trenton. I was at real quick. I was at the forum last night at City Hall with the police director of Trenton Police.
Oh, okay.
And they were talking about what happened on May 31st, and the response is I don't know if you know that there's a big controversy of how she handled a dude at liquor
the
store
riot. Oh yeah.
Doing a riot, and she told them to stand down because she was afraid for their safety, and the fact that she said that they weren't properly trained in those types of situations.
What makes it interesting is that
since we were talking about
most of those that were arrested
reform, I
weren't even from Trenton. Most of them that were arrested weren't even from Trenton when they caught them all.
Well, they were. Well, yes. Some, what I gathered from
out of town or out of state.
I was there as an observer, and I asked a question about how they were going to build a bridge between the youth, between the people. Like what are the bridges you're going to build? Not, I said because at the end of the day, those are what matters. The roots of these kids. Sometimes the kids see what's going on in the news and they're afraid to talk to the cops.
Right.
So how are you gonna my main question was how are you gonna change that narrative? And I'm saying how are you gonna engage with the kids? How are you gonna engage with the people? People in general, especially immigrants in Trenton, are terrified of the cops. They see the news.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They're and if they're undocumented, they're afraid to call the cops. Even though Trenton's not like that.
Right.
But I've heard of stories, ICE cars or trucks or vans coming out and getting people.
Right.
So it happens.
It happens.
It's the federal government. The federal government, you can't stop the federal government.
Right.
So that's my that was my thing.
Statement
I
of
was
the
I was there. No, I was there as an observer.
Mhm.
You know, and they were talking about and they were talking about the police not adequately trained in Trenton
Right.
in those situations.
Mm.
And she's been on the job for over a year.
Right.
I, you know, I'm saying, I had to touch base on it because we were in that realm of the police, and I would
I
happen
can-
to be there yesterday.
That's kind of interesting because so
It was
you
all it was the complete Latin community.
it was there
People of the Latin community at large. Because
I thought
business owners,
Mm.
councilmen.
because I always thought city police, or depending on your community size, you were always prepared for any type of riot, especially for cities.
That is.
I thought it was part of the training. That's why I always thought.
Their training. Supposedly their training is annually. Supposed to be annually they get trained. I don't know how that works. I'm not gonna question that.
Oh no, yeah.
I'm not gonna go into that. But that's I'm commenting on what she said.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I find that's an
on what she
interesting.
said. I was
after
there.
her answer.
I was there present.
Her answer was interesting.
I was there present. And I heard it directly. What she said that she would stand by her reason
Right.
and as to why.
Mm-hmm.
And she said at the time they were not properly prepared for that kind of type of situation.
Right.
That's scary.
it,
That's
yeah.
scary because they should be. I mean, this is our police force in the city.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, I'm not a direct Trenton resident, but I drink the water, right? I live in the county, so Trenton's my city, home city. I
Yeah.
care about it because I'm from there. I have a lot of friends there. I have roots from there, so that's
Right.
why I care about it.
Exactly. Oh, that's good. Yeah.
But that's why I went because I want to hear the people speak. I can't be at one protest and not be I'm now I'm now looked at as a community activist and pillar of the community, so I have to keep following up on my actions, keep following up, fighting for people, not giving up, just because one slight win, of a statue got removed.
Well-
my job is not done as an activist, is to continue to fight for the rights of everybody, no matter who they are, make sure, we have civil rights, no matter who we are,
Right.
make sure we're our voice is heard. That's my fight, man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know
It's a good
I
fight.
know that I'm always speaking on the news, on news once a week, but I become more of a community activist.
Right.
I always was, but I've always remember I've always been outspoken on a lot of issues regarding Puerto Rico during the hurricane. I was
Right.
outspoken,
No, yeah. And you collected to help collect a lot of that water.
Yeah, I helped, fill trucks. I was out there sweating. I was out there helping. Out there donating money. DJing, raising money to donate when I didn't have a job.
Exactly.
So I was always an activist.
I'll let you
It's
close
just-
out the show.
Yes, I was always an activist. My voice wasn't heard loud enough. I guess I wasn't loud enough. All right. Well, yeah. My voice wasn't loud enough then. It's now that it's being heard. And I'm blessed to have allies, friends that are like-minded, think the same. Want to change. For the better, for the future of people. So. My shout outs to all yous, everybody that's listening, watching, tuning in. I appreciate you guys. Much respect. Just keeping it real. I appreciate y'all. It's I'm gonna be in the next couple months. I'm gonna also launch a YouTube show where I just talk uncannily about anything and everything. Hopefully it can lead to a book or something, right? But I'm proud of, you know, all the alliances that all the alliances. Shout out to Jordan. Like I said, I'm proud of all the alliances that I've made over the last couple months. We're a pretty good collective. You know, we're all fearless. We all like to, you know, we all think the same. We all want to fight for civil justice, civil liberties. You know, it's amazing. But like, shout outs to those people. Shout out to all, you know, shout out to Jazzy for cleaning up the community, you know, street the other day. Shout out to everybody that's, you know, fighting. That's it. You know, shout out to my family. Shout out to my kids. Shout out to my wife. Shout out to my mom. She just came back from Florida. She's now in 14-day quarantine, so I can't physically see her. And you know, I see her physically, but I can't hug her and talk to her. Shout out to my mother-in-law. You know, I talked to her today. Talked to my mom and my mother-in-law today. But yeah, we're Freestyle Freaks on HamiltonRadio.net. I'm Ralphie Ryan, also known as DJ Noise. And I leave you one little thing. Just a word of advice. When you call me brainwashed or say something and I don't know what I'm talking about, you're opening the dialogue for me to give you an education on certain things. Just know your history, know your facts. Get your, you know, before you post something, you know, I'm not gonna say I post 1,000%. I post everything that's facts. You know, if I'm just sharing a story, you know, certain stories I'm gonna share that are gonna be reflective of what I'm talking about during this time. All the 80, 90, 95 to 100% of what I've shared about, you know, civil and just, you know, Columbus, you know, all my views on society, that's based on fact. Some of the stories that I shared, some may not be real. And if they're fake, then I would delete them. But for the most part, I try to bring you, you know, once a week, I try to bring you some real dialogue, something that a normal podcast, we're not a podcast. We got real cameras. We got real, you know, real building, huge, you know, we're not just your typical radio station. We are a talk show. And, you know, sometimes we have to come up with some off the wall topics to sell the story, to sell the conversation, to keep us, me and Billy, you know, bouncing off each other, you know, dropping knowledge. Of course, him not being here kind of throws off the whole situation. But shout out to Billy. You know, he was working late tonight, so I told him, I left it up to him. So I said he took the night off. So yes, he has missed, but he'll be here next week. But guys, be safe. You know, don't give up. Give up to good fight. Love one another, love each other, respect each other. You know, and strive for peace for each other. You know what I'm saying? So I'm out. We're out. We're the Freestyle Freaks. Peace. I get to stop my own music today. Crazy, right? So I don't know where you got some passed out on this.